Welcome back to Transcend with Yaffa, presented by EFRAT, where every woman who wants to have her baby can. Today, we are talking about what it means to transcend fear, comfort, and ego in order to serve a bigger purpose. Andre Reutemann didn't just join Hatzalah, he helped take it from a team of 20 volunteers with $2,000 in the account to a thriving organization with hundreds of volunteers and a multi-million-dollar budget. This episode is about what it means to show up, not just at emergencies, but in life. How we build something holy, even when we're not the one who started it. Welcome to our podcast. So happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
First of all, best regards from my husband, Niso. He wanted
I love him.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Thank you. I think so too.
That's good.
I agree.
He's lucky.
So here we are. Let's take it back to the beginning. I would love for everybody to get to know you a little bit. We'll start from the very beginning, where you grew up. You're from Brazil,
Correct.
Right? And I would love to know what your childhood was like. Did you grow up from, or was Judaism something that you connected to later in life? What can you tell us about growing up in Brazil?
Well, there's a concept of FFB, which they say from birth.
Yes.
I am FFB. I'm from Brazil. But definitely not from birth.
Okay, great.
I grew up not religious. My family were not religious. My grandfather, when they came from Europe, I think that he continued going to shul on Shabbat and on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. But my family, with my parents, we really used to go to the shul only Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. And that's how I grew up my life all the way to the bar mitzvah. And I had a class with one of the conservative teachers of bar mitzvah in São Paulo, where I'm from. And I was a little bit curious because I could not understand what I was doing. And I always like to understand what I'm doing. So I was asking questions. It was funny that he told my parents back then that their son are going to become a rabbi because he asked too many questions.
I love that.
He almost got that right, but not quite. But yeah, definitely after the bar mitzvah, I understood there's a lot more in Judaism than what I was exposed until then.
Wow.
Friday night for me was a soccer night, and Shabbat day was a day to go to to a restaurant with the family. It was a family day, but nothing to do with Shabbat.
Wow. So you were a cardiac Jew.
Absolutely.
Right? It was in the heart. You knew you were a Jew. You were proud to be a Jew, but you didn't know what it meant.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's exactly what it was.
I love
So after the bar mitzvah, I started asking a lot of questions, and I had the opportunity to go to a high school yeshiva for a Shabbaton. Mm-hmm. They have a beautiful school there with a soccer field, with swimming pool, and they invited me for a Shabbat for a barbecue. I asked how much it is, and they said it's free. I said, of course, I'm in.
I'll take two.
And I actually took a few friends with me. And out of all the friends, myself and two more stayed the next year for studies.
Wow.
And that's how our passion was able to become into practice.
Got to win them over with food.
Absolutely.
That's it.
That's the way to do it.
I always say, and I really believe this, you have to invite the Yetzer Hara to the party. Right? That's how you get people in.
That's a good way to put it.
Right? I love that. So then you started yeshiva in what grade?
I started yeshiva when I was 14 years old.
I was 14. Okay.
Yes. And the first year I was not really religious at all, but I was getting in myself integrated because I really asked all those questions and I really enjoyed what I was getting. And I have two other brothers and my parents, they were completely out of anything related to religion. Even though my father, he started putting tefillin on my bar mitzvah. And he put tefillin every single day since then.
Wow.
Don't ask me why, but that was something that he started. It was very...
Something touched him, like he was just moved.
And he wanted to also guide by example, even though he didn't have anything else that he could offer. But the one thing he knew was to put tefillin, and he started doing
That's
right on my bar mitzvah.
Wow.
And he hasn't missed since. And the interesting part is that I went to the yeshiva, and a year later, I started to eat only kosher. But in my house was nothing kosher. Actually, the meat, nothing was kosher.
Not even kosher style.
It was pig.
It
was ham.
Wow.
And and I asked my Rosh Yeshiva that I told him that I'm eating kosher, and I'm eating kosher except for in my house. I don't want to upset my parents. So I asked him if I should make a bracha on a treif meat.
Wow. What a question. What did he
So
say?
my Rosh Hashiva turned to me and said, you shouldn't make a bracha, and you should take your yarmulke out every time you're going to eat. And it was funny because every time I was eating and I had to take down my yarmulke, and I had tears in my eyes, but I still ate because I didn't want to upset my parents. It took less than a month, and my mom changed the entire kitchen to kosher. She couldn't see that.
I literally just got chills.
So
Unbelievable.
I told that to my Rosh Hashiva many years later. I said, do you remember when you told me that? And that changed my life. And he said, not only I don't remember, I can't even believe that's the answer I gave you. So this is something that it was very touchy.
But that's such a great example of you can never force people to change. We could only model the behavior. We can only influence people to change. And by you just behaving with the midos that you behaved with and the kibbud av va'em, but your parents were able to see your growth and who you were able to influence the change in your home.
Absolutely. I'll tell you that my other friend that joined me in the yeshiva the same day with me, he became kosher in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And he basically told his parents that he's no longer going to eat in their house. Unfortunately, after 3 years, he left Judaism. He left Frumkeit completely.
Wow.
His parents are very aggravated about Judaism as well. They did not have a good experience. But in my case, because I was able to, with patience and love, today my parents are religious. My brother is a rabbi in Brazil. My other brother is a community leader in Mexico. So sometimes the longer route is the one's going to take you farthest.
Absolutely. It's one step at a time. Judaism is not a marathon, right? We're not running, we're leaping. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. And you're the proof of that. That's incredible. Wow, what a story. Now, eventually you ended up in Baltimore, in yeshiva in Baltimore. That's where you met my husband, right?
Absolutely.
So how did that come about?
So when I was in yeshiva and I was becoming more religious, actually there was a turning point in my life. We used to go to shul Friday night. I asked my father to come with me with my brothers. So we used to drive to shul and drive back. Mm-hmm. And a certain Friday night, as we're walking back from shul, everybody's looking at my car. My father's car was a brand new vehicle. And he was like, oh, it looks like they liked my car. As we approached the car, all the windows were were broken, and they stole everything that was inside. So at that point, my father turned to me and said, it's probably a sign from heaven that we shouldn't drive to shul on Shabbat. And I always think about that, because in other circumstances, he could have said, I come to shul and God does that to me. It allows my car to be broken. I shouldn't come to shul anymore.
That's right.
So the Birkava says that God allows us and pushes us to go in the way we decide to go. And I think this is a proof of that. That allowed us to evolve into Judaism. And that actually was a turning point, because once we got home walking, it was 11th floor, I told my father, I'm going to walk up the stairs. And he said, I'm coming with you. And my brother said, I'm coming with you.
Whew.
So that was the first Shabbos we kept, because once we got 11 floors up, I said, I'm not going to watch TV. I would just walk up 11 floors.
It's like a domino effect.
So that was the first Shabbos, and my entire family became Shomer Shabbos from that on. And that allowed me to grow into Torah and be able to go to yeshiva. I spent 2 years in Israel, in yeshiva. And then my parents really wanted me to do college, and I also wanted to go to graduate and go to college. I went to finance, and I went to Baltimore because that had ability to go to college and be in yeshiva. Mm-hmm. So I actually met your husband because there was an amazing program developed for Latin kids to come during summer and winter times, mm-hmm. and to show them a little bit of Judaism that they couldn't see in their countries. Mm-hmm. And your husband was a superstar of showing the kids the happy part of Judaism. Wow. I was very inspired by him. And after he left, I actually continued visiting Latin America countries, bringing kids back to yeshiva for many years until I graduated from my master's in Baltimore, and I moved to Florida with my family. So your husband's actually a big influence in everything I do today.
That's incredible. I'm so happy to hear that.
Absolutely.
Wow. I didn't know him back then, but I'm glad to hear that now.
Yes.
Wow, amazing. So that's been quite a journey. What was the adjustment like for you, a kid from Brazil coming to an American yeshiva? How was your English? Like right now, your English is fluent. How was it then?
I thought I knew English when I came into Baltimore,
Yeah.
but it was terrible. It was very challenging. Actually, the biggest challenge that I had was the language barrier. I remember one of the rabbis standing in front of me with another kid, asking if I would be okay for him to come to my room because I had an extra bed, and I didn't answer, just because I did not understand what he was saying. And he thought I didn't want him to come to my room. And I only know about it because somebody else heard the conversation and told me that. So it was very difficult, big challenge to sit on the table and guys talking and laughing and having fun, and you have no clue what's going on. So the first 6 months were probably the most challenging points of my life. It was a very challenge. And because of the challenge, I had to make an extra effort to find the chavruta, to be able to learn, to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
So actually, I think that a big part of the development that I received in my life, my personality of being able to be more outgoing and talking to people, was the effort, the extra effort that I had to do to be able to live with the challenge that I had at that moment.
Wow.
So absolutely was my biggest challenge became probably my biggest blessing at that time.
Wow. So your biggest challenge turned into the greatest gift.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. And also it must have been so difficult for you, not only because you couldn't communicate, but you had no personality probably, right? Like nobody knew who you were. And that must have been so difficult also. And you're like, I want you to know I'm not this boring, quiet person. I have a personality. I was a big, popular guy back in Brazil, right? It's like this weird
Absolutely.
feeling of like, nobody knows me. And it's one of the worst things is to just not be seen by people for who you are.
Absolutely.
So, wow, that was a big challenge. So, but in the end, you appreciate the gift that you received from this transition.
Absolutely. And Baltimore developed me also, allowed me to go into Latin America countries, to talk to kids, talk to parents, allow them to come to yeshiva. That developed a lot of my personality of being able to be a people's person, which I am today.
Well, what inspired that? Like suddenly you're becoming an ambassador. Like what gave you the motivation to do that or the desire?
So I'm a big passionate person in general.
Okay.
So if I believe in something, I want everyone else to experience that. So when I found in Judaism that beauty, I was very passionate about it. I'm still are. And that passion is something that I would love for other people to be able to see. And when I moved to Florida and we moved to Aventura, they had other shuls around, but we decided to go into a community and to build something that was built out of passion. And this is something for me was very important. It wasn't about being Sephardic, Ashkenazi, Lubavitch, or anything else. It was about whatever you are doing, just do it with passion.
Amazing. Well, obviously eventually you moved to Aventura. So how did that happen? You went from Baltimore straight to Aventura?
Yes. When I graduated, my in-laws were also from Brazil, but they decided to move to Miami.
Okay.
My brother-in-laws with their families, they all moved to Miami.
Oh, so you got married?
I got married in Brazil.
In Brazil.
When I was in Baltimore.
Got it. Okay.
And then I brought my wife to Baltimore when I was in Kollel and doing my master's. So when I finished, she gave me two options. Either we can go to Miami or we can go to Miami. Okay. And I made a decision to come to Miami.
It's your decision.
It was my decision,
Obviously.
100%.
See, that's a smart wife.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
She
a smart husband.
Clearly. So what was it like when you got here? Like, what were some of the strengths, some of the challenges when you got here? What was that like?
So I came directly from the Kollel, from the yeshiva, coming to Aventura, right? So the first thing I established that the name is not Aventura, it's Aventura.
Yes.
We wanted to establish a Torah place.
Actually, Even Torah.
Even Torah.
Right. The stone
the
of
stone
Torah.
of Torah. That we wanted
foundation.
people to enjoy Torah, to be able to learn. I remember when I came in, I went to Safra synagogue to pray Mincha Arvit. And there was nothing happening between Mincha Arvit. So I told the people that was sitting, waiting there, I said, have you learned Gemara? I was like, no, we never did it. It's like, let's do it. I'm proud to say that it was about many years ago. It was back in 2004. It was the first Gemara Shir that Safra Synagogue had. Today they have a kollel there, we have rabbonim, we have learning going on in the morning, afternoon, night. It's many minyanim going on. It's beautiful.
So you're even impacting the Sephardi world, not just the Ashkenazi world.
Listen, we have to impact the Jewish world.
The Jewish world.
Absolutely.
Safra is like the hardcore Sephardi, and you brought Gemara into there.
Yes.
That's amazing. But you're just going to say something.
So I was going to say that when we did that, all based on building passion to Torah and to Judaism.
Yeah.
And in our Aventura League,